Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
For everyone who has logged on to class, I just want to do a sound check. So if you have video on and can hear me, if I can get a wave or a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. And as you're getting settled, you might find a strap or scarf helpful today. Not required, but helpful. So we're going to get started in about a minute. We have more friends joining us for class. If you're just logging in, you might find a strap or a scarf helpful today for your practice. It's not required, but if you have one, go grab it. And we're going to start down on our backs today. So if you have your space ready, the temperature's nice in your room, and you're ready to just start arriving for your practice, please come on down to your back. If anyone has anything at all they'd like me to know about their bodies today, you can briefly unmute yourself or send a private chat to Grace Studios, and I'll take a look at that as we're getting settled. Well, welcome to my class. For those who are new to my teaching and this class, welcome. My name is Jennifer. This is a gentler style flow class. We move at a slower pace. We build a lot of strength, and we open the bodies and calm the minds. So you're in the right place if any of that sounds good this morning. My greatest request of you is that you continuously listen to your body and to your intuition, and either skip activities that bring you discomfort or modify them in a way that feels supportive and safe. Okay, so as you're coming into your space, if you're seated, I'd like you to come down onto your back. We're going to start laying down on our back. And you could have your legs stretched nice and long on the floor, or you could lay with your knees bent and your feet touching the earth. You could have some kind of support behind your knees if that feels better. And just let your arms rest in a space that feels really comfortable. Our practice today is going to focus a bit on shoring up our back bodies. So backs of legs, glutes, muscles in the back. Because so much of our everyday activity draws us into this forward rounding position, especially if we sit at desks for school or work. And over time, that actually weakens the muscles in the posterior chain of the body, so the muscles on the back. So for right now, I'd like to invite you to just allow your back to be received by the surface beneath you. Just let the floor have your back. And you might take this time to notice the back of your head touching the earth, the entire length of your spine on the ground, as well as the backs of your hips, maybe the backs of your legs if you're lengthened long, and then either the heels of your feet or the soles of your feet touching the ground. And then begin to shift your awareness to the movement or the sound of your breath coming in and out of your body this morning. Just allow your breath to be as it wishes to be in this moment. You might observe qualities of expansion as you inhale. And you might feel your body soften or sink a little closer to the floor as you release the breath. And just observe a couple of more breaths, maybe even inviting a lengthened breath if that feels supportive to you this morning. And And then just allow yourself to release any need to observe the breath and just allow it to flow naturally in and out of your body. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to lengthen your arms all the way up overhead. And just see if you can observe some length between your ribs, maybe from your hip creases all the way up the side body, the armpits, to the ends of your fingers. And then you can bring your hands back down to the earth. And if you've chosen to grab a strap or scarf, please go ahead and reach for that and wrap it around the sole of your right foot. And then take your right leg straight up to the sky. Lengthen your right heel as if it's trying to kiss the ceiling. And just make sure that your hands aren't white knuckling your strap here. Just hold the strap or scarf tightly enough to support your leg, but invite a little ease from the shoulders on down to the fingertips. So we're lengthening the hamstring muscle group, the muscles on the backs of the thighs here. And for a lot of people, tight hamstrings or even weak hamstrings can contribute to back discomfort. So just breathe into the muscles on the back of your thigh, maybe the lower leg muscles as well. And if you want to deepen this stretch, your left leg could flatten all the way down to the floor and you reach the left heel forward. And just take another breath or two here. And if you've straightened your left leg to the earth, go ahead and rebend the left knee and place the left foot on the ground and then release your right foot from the strap. And then you can take the strap around the base of your left foot and reach that leg up toward the sky. And if this is too deep a stretch for your hamstrings or aggravates the knee joint, you could add a little softness around the knee. And just visualize the back of your leg and heel lengthening upward. Your right leg could come down to the floor to take this stretch a little deeper. Just a couple more breaths here. And then if you straighten the right leg, rebend the knee, let the foot touch the earth. Left leg can come down out of the strap. You can pull your knees in toward your heart and give yourself a loving embrace. And if some side to side rocking would feel good this morning, just rock gently, massaging your sacrum. And then let's keep the knees drawn in toward the chest, but release our hands to the back of our head. So we're going to interlace our fingers and just place our hands behind our head and neck. Keep your elbows open nice and wide here. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, see if you can lift your knees and nose toward one another. So just coming into a little bundle and then lower down. And do that a couple more times at your own pace. Slower is going to build more strength here. Keeping the elbows open nice and wide. Nose will reach toward knees. Maybe do about 2 more repetitions. And then you can let your head relax down on the floor. Release your hands down to the earth. And we're just going to take our feet a little bit closer to the floor. So knees are going to stay bent. You're just going to try and touch the tips of your toes to the earth and then lift your knees back up. So a little bit of lower abdominal work here. Just touching the floor with the tips of your toes and then drawing knees back in. Just do that maybe 5 times in total. And then when you're finished, knees can come closer to heart. Give yourself another hug. Roll onto your side body and press yourself upright to a comfortable seat on your mat. And as you're coming to your comfortable seat, just feel your sitting bones anchoring down to the floor. Draw your navel space closer to your low back and see if you can create a little length from your hip creases all the way up to the crown of your head. So long and tall here. And holding onto this beautiful long spine, we're going to take our arms out to the side and spread nice and wide through the fingers. And let's just feel our shoulder blades squeeze a little bit closer together here. Those muscles really take a beating when we're sitting at desks all day. They get really weak. So we're just activating the rhomboid muscles here, opening the chest. We'll keep that little bit of shoulder blades squeezing together action as we lift our arms to the sky. And take a nice gentle twist over to the right. And your left hand can rest on the right knee. Right hand might touch the earth behind you. Just saying good morning to all the muscles that help rotate the torso and spine. On your next in-breath, let's spin the face front, reach our arms back up to the sky, just feeling our length and strength. Rotate left, spinal twist. Try to keep a steady breath here, even as you're in the twist. And then we'll turn once again to face center, take the arms up overhead, and let's explore some lateral flexion in the spine. Just bringing the right hand to the earth. We're going to stay nice and long through the left side body and maybe take a look up toward our left wrist. We'll only take that look if it's safe for our neck to do so. If not, we can just keep our gaze forward. Keeping that breath flowing. Loving up our backs today, having our own back, and inviting that energy into our lives so that other people will also have our back. Let's lift ourselves up through center, reach the fingertips tall, keep length as you side bend over to the left. Take that gaze up or keep the gaze down. And then we'll come back through center, bring the palms to touch up overhead and then draw them down to your heart and just take a real sweet bow down toward your light. Then we'll bring our head back upright, stretch our legs out in front of us nice and long. Toes are going to point up to the sky. We're going to stay rooted in the back of our pelvis and we'll sweep the arms forward and up with an in-breath. And then let's hinge from the hip creases, reach our fingertips forward, and then maybe fold the upper body down toward the thighs. Just finding some steadiness in our breath. Making sure that we haven't moved past any areas of comfort in this fold. So we're not trying to touch our toes if that's just not something our body wants to do. Maybe we're keeping mindful awareness of the backs of our hips, staying in contact with the floor, and just observing any sensations in the backs of our legs. We'll just take another 2 breaths here. And then let's roll ourselves all the way upright to sit nice and tall. And we'll make our way to all fours, coming to tabletop pose. So we've been working on this a lot the last few weeks, this building a nice strong tabletop. So make yourself comfortable. See if you can stack your wrists right beneath your shoulders, knees beneath the hips. And I'd like you to come back to that action of narrowing the space between your shoulder blades. So see if you can draw your shoulder blades a little closer together. And in my body, as I do that, I feel my chest and heart get a little more spacious. Your neck can stay in alignment with your spine here. It's going to feel like you're pressing the earth away from you. So we're actually building some upper body strength here as we keep an active engagement with the floor. And then let's see how it feels to flow into cow pose. Just let the belly drop toward the earth. Tail and gaze can lift. And then we'll draw the belly in toward the back, round the spine to the sky, finding cat. So move between these two shapes, maybe coordinating one movement with your inhale and the other movement with your exhale. Just really appreciating these simplistic movements and feeling how they impact your body, your breath, maybe even your mental state of being. You're just having your own back here today. After you round up to cow pose once more, I'd like you to come back to steady table. We're going to lower down to our forearms here. So forearms can be flat on the ground, or you can create fists and bring the pinky side of your fingers down to your mat. Have your knuckles close together. Elbows can open a little bit wider here. We're going to come into a forearm plank, extending one leg back and then the other. We're pressing the floor away from ourselves, reaching back out through our heels, just as we did in those opening stretches. Breathing into our strength here. Maybe letting our knees touch the earth. If this forearm plank is too much, we can still focus on core engagement and upper body strength building. We'll just take another breath. And then let's place our knees on the earth and come all the way back to child's pose. And you can decide where your arms need to be in this child's. They might reach forward to stretch the upper back. If your shoulders are achy this morning, maybe you just relax the arms and let them rest alongside your legs, or reach fingertips back toward feet. You might also check in with the positioning of your legs. So if you've come into child's with knees snug together and something doesn't feel right in the low body, maybe you come up out of the shape and open the knees a little wider. Just find what feels good this morning. Letting your hips release toward the earth. And just noticing your breath. And just take about 2 or 3 more rounds of breath here. And then from your child's pose, I'd like you to come all the way down to lay on your belly on your mat. So your forehead is going to touch the earth. Belly and torso are going to touch the earth. Your toenails will press gently into the floor. And once you're down on your belly, take your arms forward as if you were Superman. So fingertips are reaching away from feet. Find a little engagement through the core muscles. So it feels like the front of your core is drawing in toward your spine. And then I'd like you to lift one arm and the opposite leg off of the mat. So we're doing a little land swimming here. Opposite arm, opposite leg, and then slowly lower down. And then lift the other arm and other leg. And then lower down. So I'd like you to continue with this at your own pace, preferably a slower pace here. Be mindful of keeping that front of core engagement to protect your low spine. And don't worry so much about the height of your lifts. I want you to make really quality lifts here. So you might move your arm and foot off the ground just an inch. But see if you can just really feel the entire length of your back body doing the work here. Maybe do one more round on each side. And then just let your body melt down into the floor. No lifting, no moving. If you want to rest one cheek on stacked palms here, just to give your face a little room to breathe, just take a moment. And then we're going to bring the forehead to touch the mat once again. This time we're going to reach our fingertips back toward our feet, and our palms are going to face our outer thighs. Okay. Find that strength in your core. And then I'd like you to lift your upper body and both legs away from the mat. And just see if you can hold for 2 or 3 breaths. You might feel into the back of your neck. We don't want any wrinkles in the skin in the back of the neck. So some of you may need to ever so slightly drop your chin. And then when you're ready, just touch down, sink into the earth. Breathe a sigh of relief that this part of your practice is complete. Place your hands alongside your chest, press yourself up to tabletop pose. And I'm going to give you choice here. You can come back to child's, or for those feeling a burst of energy, you can explore our first downward facing dog. So toes could curl under, tailbone and thighs can lift up and back. For those who've elected to come up to dog, if you'd like to walk your dog a little, you could alternately bend into one knee and then the other. And then for anyone who explored child's pose for a moment, peel yourself up off the floor. We're all going to meet in down dog. And then let's take a nice slow walk to the top of our mat. We're going to arrive in a standing forward fold. We're going to check in with the hamstring muscles, maybe adding a soft bend into the knees if we feel restriction or tugging in the backs of the thighs. Let the head and neck melt down. Next, in breath, let's come to a half lift, creating length from our tailbone to the crown of the head. As we exhale, we'll lower down to the earth. And let's come all the way up to standing. We'll sweep our arms up to the sky, bring the palms to touch, and then exhale our hands to heart center. We'll just take 2 rounds of breath here. Feeling the feet on the floor, strengthen our legs. And then let's come into chair pose. We're going to bend into the knees and let the hips sink back as if we were sitting into a chair. We could keep our hands in Anjali Mudra right in front of the heart, or extend the arms forward so that the upper arm bones align next to the ears, or we could take our arms back as if we were a downhill skier, just really in the flow. Just take another breath wherever you are. And then let's straighten through the legs, reach the arms to the sky, and we'll take a fold as we let go of that breath. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, breath will fold. Let's step our left foot to the back of the mat, and we're going to slowly lower the left knee all the way down to the floor. So we're coming into Anjaneyasana, a low lunge pose. And this is a beautiful stretch for the psoas muscle, the hip flexor, and the front of the back thigh. And for some people, low back pain is primarily from a tight psoas. So our front knee is stacked over the front ankle. And we're just moving our bodies in such a way that we feel some length in the front of the left thigh. We'll just take one more nice breath here. And then let's bring our hands to the earth. We're going to step back to down dog. So lift the back knee off the ground. Find dog pose. As you're ready, just take a glance forward. Take as many steps as you need to walk forward to your forward fold. And we'll find that halfway lift, lengthening the spine. And on the out breath, let's fold back down to the ground. Sweep your arms forward and up. Stand tall in your spine and legs. Exhale your hands to your heart. Nice full breath in here. Exhale breath, find chair pose. Bend into the knees. Draw the belly in toward the waist. Create that length in the waist and side body. Arms can reach forward or back, your choice, or stay at heart center. Okay? Lots of options here this morning. And then let's inhale, straighten the legs, take the arms to the sky. Out breath, we find that forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Out breath, fold. Right leg will come to the back of the mat, and we'll gently place the left knee on the floor. Low lunge pose. Arms can sweep up to the sky. Back foot can be curled under or top of foot touching the mat, whatever feels better. Couple breaths here, lengthening, feeling our strength. And then let's bring our hands down to the mat. We're going to lift the back knee off the floor and once again step back to dog pose. Finding a few breaths here. Just letting the breath help support you. And then walk to the front of your mat once again. Let the backs of your legs lengthen. Half lift on your in-breath. As you release the breath, fold down to the ground. And then sweep your arms out and up to the sky as you rise to standing and bring your hands to heart center. Just take 2 breaths here. So from mountain pose, I'd like you to turn to face the long edge of your mat, or if you have space in your practice area, just take a wider stance on your mat. We're going to send a lot of activation from the outer hips down through the outer thighs to the outer edges of both feet. So we're standing here really strong, firing up the glute muscles that help preserve the health of our backs. And then from here, we're going to transition into warrior 2 pose. So turn your right foot to face the short edge of your mat. You're going to stay strong in the back foot and then bend into your right knee and sweep your arms forward and back at shoulder height. So So we've been talking a little bit today about strengthening and opening to counteract all the forward rounding we do in our daily lives. So even here in Warrior Two, I'd like you to see if you can create a little more space in your chest by drawing your pinky fingers back. And it's probably going to be a teeny tiny action, but you might feel a pretty substantial change across your chest and even between your shoulder blades. And then you can just let your arms relax back to where they started in Warrior Two. We're going to turn the front palm to the sky and then tip the upper body back to find peaceful warrior. So I'd like you to just observe the length you're creating here through the right side of your body. We'll just take one more breath. And then let's come back up to Warrior Two. We're going to turn so that our feet are facing the long edge of our mat. And then we'll bring our feet just a little bit closer together and then turn the toes out about 45 degrees. Okay, our hands can come to rest on the waist. We're going to draw the core in toward the center. Feel your tailbone start to sink closer to the floor as you bend into your knees, coming into goddess pose. So see if you can use the strength in your legs to draw your knees to align toward your fourth toe. So if you feel your knees kind of sinking in toward one another, draw them apart. And if you'd like, you can bring your arms to palms up position at your sides, or to cactus and find that shoulder blade squeezing together action. We're just going to be here for 2 more breaths. You're all amazing and beautiful. And then let's straighten our legs. Turn our feet so that our toes are pointing forward. Press toward the outer edges of the feet, and then hinge from your hip creases, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So hands might come to rest on legs or the earth or a yoga block in between our feet. But even in this fold, I want you to think of pressing toward the outer edges of the feet to keep yourself stable. And just notice any sensations in your back body here. On your next inhale breath, find that half lift, lots of length in the spine, and then release back down to your fold. We're going to bring ourselves upright to stand and turn the left foot to face the short edge of the mat. Bend into the left knee. We're back in Warrior Two. We'll sweep the arms forward and back and gaze out over the left fingertips. So just feel into your front knee. If it feels like it's collapsing in toward the big toe, use your strong leg muscles to draw that thigh and knee out to the side. Steady breath. Maybe the pinkies draw back a little bit as you open the chest and heart. And then we'll turn the left palm to the sky and just gracefully tip back, peaceful warrior. Just feel your fingertips energetically reaching closer to the ceiling. You might even feel an opening in the low belly through the diaphragm, the abdominal muscles. And then let's come back to our Warrior Two. We're going to come back to goddess pose. So let's adjust our feet maybe a little closer together. Find that gentle turning out of the toes. Let the tail lengthen toward the floor as we bend into the knees. And just start strengthening hips and legs. Okay, if you want to position your arms differently, go for it. I want you to think of the low back, sacrum, and tail Staying nice and long here. It's like there's a string attached to the floor and your tail. You're being drawn down. So no hunching in the back, no rounding in the back. This is a lot of legs here. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to straighten the legs, make that turn in the toes, and come back to our wide-legged forward fold, just for a couple breaths. Half lift, inhale, out breath, fold. Bring yourself back upright to stand. Let's sweep our arms out and up to the sky. We'll just pause here in starfish pose. So fingertips energetically reaching out and up, feet rooted to the floor, bellies drawing in. We're long and strong. And then hands will come to heart center. And we'll walk our feet closer together and make our way to the top of our mats. Standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's take a breath in, lift our arms up overhead, and then exhale, forward fold. Let's rise up halfway here. We'll come into a forward fold, step our left foot back to warrior 1. So left heel will be reaching toward the ground. Right knee is bent. Arms can lift up here. And then let's see how it feels to bring our hands to touch in front of our hearts. We're going to lift the left heel off the floor and pivot the foot so that the toes are pointing straight ahead. And let's just play with warrior 3 here. So we'll start shifting our body weight toward the right leg. Maybe we'll feel our left toes only touch the floor. Maybe they'll stay there, and this is our warrior 3. Maybe our left foot wants to lift off the earth, and we'll reach out through the heel as we've done a few times today. And maybe the arms would like to reach forward or back. Building strength in the standing hip and leg. Building strength in the flying leg. Let's take another breath. And then we'll bend the standing knee, place the left foot back into warrior 1, sweep the arms up to the sky, and then exhale, hands come to the floor, and we'll step back to our dog pose. Take your time, no hurry. Keep your hands pressing the earth away from you in this dog. When you're ready, take a walk to the front edge of your mat, coming to your forward fold. Rise halfway on an inhale breath. As you fold, just release the body toward the ground. Sweep the arms out and up as you rise to standing. Hands can touch down in front of your heart. Second side, inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, find your fold. Nice long spine as you do that. Halfway lift with your inhale. Exhale, fold, right leg steps to the back of the mat, warrior 1. So let your right heel lengthen toward the ground. Don't force it into the floor. Use your strength in the upper body to help peel yourself away from your front thigh. Just take a few breaths here. Remind yourself how strong and awesome you are. Then bring your palms to touch in front of your heart. You might lift your back heel off of the earth and turn the foot so that your toes are facing forward. Maybe you start shortening the distance between back and front foot, and then see if you want to play with warrior 3. So your body weight's going to shift to the left foot. Right toes can stay in contact with the floor, or you can take the leg and foot away from the earth And then maybe airplane wing your arms, or reach them back or reach them forward. Just remember, wherever you are today is exactly where you're supposed to be. And just unrolling your mat today is enough. One more breath. Soft bend in the front leg, back foot touches the earth. Sweep the arms back up to warrior one. And then release your breath. Bring your hands to the floor. Step back to dog pose. Couple full breaths in dog. If you want to take your feet nice and wide in this dog and just let the entire length of your leg find a little more length, go ahead and do that. And see if you can let the head release even a smidge more. If there's any negative self-talk creeping in, especially after that challenging warrior 3, say hello to it and then ask it to just go bye-bye for a few minutes. As you're ready, I'd like you to walk your hands back to your feet. So you'll be in a fold, but at the back of your mat. And instead of doing a flat back lift, let's just roll our spines all the way upright to stand here. We're going to do one more standing balance pose today. Maybe we use our strap for this one. So if you'd like to grab that strap or have it nearby, go ahead and do that. We're just going to practice a variation of hand to big toe pose. So if you're using a strap, I'd like you to wrap it around the base of your right foot. And you'll hold your strap ends in your right hand. As you feel ready, you can shift your body weight to your left foot. I want you to anchor your your left foot down into the ground and feel the strength in the entire left leg. Grow a little taller and stronger through the torso. And once you feel steady standing in your left leg, see how it feels to lift the right knee closer to your heart. Some of you might choose to stay right here. If you'd like to add on, there's a couple of options. Your left hand could reach to the sky, and you could build a lot of energetic strength through the left side of your body. You might choose to straighten the leg you have in your strap, and that could be straightening forward or straightening slightly out to the side on an angle. Okay, so just find what feels good and safe. This is a playful moment in our practice. I've been wobbling a lot today. My morning practice for balance was a disaster, and teaching on camera has its own balance challenges. So just be where you are, maybe smile into it, play for another couple breaths on this side. It's just yoga after all. It's just a practice. It's not a perfection. And we only know we were in balance when we fall out. So if that's any good perspective for folks this morning, take it. As you're ready, I'd like you to dismantle the pose on this side. Just kind of move organically into your body, sway through your hips, point and flex your foot if your foot got a little crampy. Maybe just take a big loud exhale breath if that created any heat or frustration. And then as you're ready, we're going to play with this pose on the second side. So strap's going to come around the left foot or whatever foot you didn't do yet. Create that really strong foundation in your standing leg. Hold your strap only tight enough to lend support to the foot, but not so tight that your knuckles are turning white. And then when you feel strong in the standing leg, bring your strapped leg closer to your belly. So knee's going to come to belly, and you might stay right here. You might take arm up to the sky. You might straighten the leg in the strap, either directly forward or open it out to the side. Just try to keep a little bit of lightness about this. Okay, we've done a lot of really focused strength work today, and all of that strength work was prep for this moment. So your bodies are physically ready. Sometimes it's the mind that gets in the way. We're striving to be perfect. Could we just let it be messy right now? Messy but safe. Just take another 2 breaths wherever you are. And then bring yourself out of the shape. If you practiced with a scarf or strap, just slide it on off to the side. And you get to come down to a comfortable seat on your mat now. Maybe hips are up on a blanket or a small pillow. We'll bring the bottoms of our feet to touch. We're going to come into a seated bound angle pose here. And your feet can be any distance from the groin that feels comfortable to you. Okay, we're going to start with a heart opening version of this shape. So if you're able, I'd like you to take your hands to the space behind your hips. And once again, you're going to feel your shoulder blades get a little closer together without letting your belly collapse. See if you can find lift in the torso, lift in the heart, maybe lift in the gaze. Just creating some beautiful openness in the front body. And even close into your eyes here and just rediscover your breath. Just another 3 or 4 rounds of breath. And then you can bring your head back through center. Walk your hands forward so that they're resting on your lower legs or ankles or even grasping big toes. And we'll once again hinge from the hips, just bringing the upper body forward and down. You might feel your elbows or arms make contact with inner legs here to help deepen this stretch. Just 2 more breaths this way. And then we'll bring ourselves out of this fold. And we can use our hands placed outside the outer thighs to just scoop the knees towards one another. We're going to come back down to tabletop pose for a moment, but I'd like you to make sure your knees are comfortable. So if you need a blanket or towel to pad beneath your knees, go ahead and place that on your mat. So we're going to do one last really, I think it's lovely stretch for side body and arm and upper back. So we're going to do quarter down dog pose. So I'd like you to bring your left forearm down to your mat and your fingertips are going to point to the right. Your tail is going to stay a little bit high, most likely here. And then your right arm, you're going to reach it forward and place your hand down on the floor. Your forehead might come to rest on your left forearm. And as your right hand reaches forward and presses the earth, you will very likely feel a stretch through the right side of your body. perhaps around the right armpit and ribs. And this is a really lovely time to let your breath be a support to you sustaining yourself in this shape. And certainly, if having your right arm extended forward is aggravating in any way, maybe you don't reach forward quite as much. Maybe you just skip this shape altogether and come to child's pose. If you're choosing to stay in this quarter down dog, just see if you can do that for another 2 breaths. And then I'd like you to come back up to tabletop pose and take 1 round of cow and cat. So just arch into your spine and then round into your spine. As you feel ready, we're going to take quarter dog on the other side. Right forearm's going to come down to the mat. Fingertips will point left. Left arm will extend forward. Palm and fingertips on the ground. We're breathing into the length through the left side body. Two more breaths. Your depth, your length, your pace. And then lift yourself back up to tabletop pose. Take 1 last cow and 1 last cat. And then after you've finished your cow cat, I'd like you to come down onto your back and pull your knees in toward your heart. Just give yourself a really lovely hug. And we'll just take a brief twist to each side. So keeping your knees drawn in toward the belly, release your arms down to shoulder height, making a letter T shape, and then bring both knees over to the right-hand side of your mat. And just take a few breaths into your low spine and your hips. And then you can bring your knees through center. And then let them glide over to the opposite side of your mat, just exploring the twist in this direction. And then bring your knees back through center. Just do a brief check-in with your body, asking if there's any final micro movements you need in order for your practice to feel complete. And if your body says, nope, I'm done, and whenever you're ready, I'd like you to position yourself on the floor in any way that would be a comfortable position for rest or sleep. So you could be on your back, your side, or your belly for a few minutes rest in Shavasana. So please offer yourself any comforts, supports, or props that invite the most ease into this time. Feel the floor rise up to support you. And give your body permission to sink and to settle closer to the floor. Give yourself permission to be still in this moment, knowing that you had the courage to show up for yourself, to have your own back this morning as we moved in community through this strengthening and opening practice. Begin to return your awareness to your breath. Feeling or hearing the breath both enter and leave your body. And you might invite some really small movements into your feet and your hands. Maybe your body needs a little bigger movement with a full body stretch, just reaching out in all directions. And then as you feel ready, if you're on your back, knees can draw closer to heart. And then you can roll gently onto your side and just receive a breath or two, keeping your awareness very much toward your internal landscape as you gently increase your awareness of the space around you. And then we'll all meet upright in a comfortable seat, keeping our gazes soft or even eyes closed. And we'll close our practice by bringing our hands back to Anjali Mudra, prayer pose, right in front of our hearts. And let's take a loving bow to ourselves, to our light. Have a beautiful week, everyone. And Happy New Year if I don't see you. Namaste. If anyone has questions or comments, you're welcome to unmute yourself. Otherwise, I'll see you all here next Monday.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Hello. My niece and her children were here today. I don't know if you noticed extra activity,
I did. It was wonderful.
but my niece was having back problems and she kept saying, this is feeling better. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Take care.
Thanks, Jenny. Be well, everybody.